So let me introduce myself. I'm Rohit Tripathy. I'm founder of a firm called I passed out of NITIE in 2001 as part of I-6 batch, and I joined Ernst & Young for 3 years. I started my career as an ethical hacker in Ernst & Young, but they didn't have enough ethical hacking jobs, so I ended up doing technology consulting. So I started up new technology practices for Ernst & Young, and when I joined Ernst & Young was pretty much a chartered accountant firm. It was pretty. They had MBAs but with finance background and commerce background, and we were the first batch of people who had technical degrees. So
we were in summer project.
yeah. So that was nice and bad. It was nice because we had full freedom. No one would bother us. It was bad because no one would help us. So we were basically worked there for 3 years. I was not meant to be in a job, and I went to EY because of an accident, basically. So I left out first moment I could get out. Which is when they promoted me as a. And now I think I've earned my exit here. So when they promoted me, I left. And then I started a company with one of my partners in US, and the company name is called Rohit Tripathy. I was in that company for 5 years up to 2009, and after that I basically took on to world travel. So I traveled anywhere and everywhere. Traveled all 50 states of US, traveled entire Central America on bus. Africa, Europe, all countries of Europe. I just traveled a bit, explored the world, part of my new thing, and the new thing finally. First product of that came in 2017, which is a blockchain Bitcoin product. And so I created this firm called Ranchi Mall, and Ranchi Mall is an internet firm. So everything is on internet, even in the office, and so that I can get talent all over the world and consumers all over the world too. And it does things which have only been done never before. So that means my product development time is large. But I have got a huge breakthrough in the blockchain technology, so I can receive with a lot of products in a pretty fast rate if my consumers can do it. And I was always attached to NITIE, so I'm back in NITIE. Every couple of years I come and interact with students. I'm coming here. Last time I was here in 2013, now 2017. So always fun, and always I can talk to people because he's crazy enough to let him. He invites him into that space, and I'm thankful for him for that. So that's my short story. Last time we basically talked about what I did for some of my projects. I'm doing what is called as an IPO equivalent. It's called an ICO in the blockchain. It's called the initial coin offering. And I'm doing, this will probably be the first initial coin offering for anyone from India, but I don't operate in India, I operate on the internet space, in the blockchain space, which is across geographies. Okay? So I don't like to be tagged from being India because it's basically people will be participating all over the world, But the start will happen through India because that's where most of my contacts are. And and then so I was recently incorporated a company in UAE. It's called Ranchi Mall FZE, Free Zone Enterprise, and I'm offering 1% of that company on blockchain, and it's 21 million tokens at $1 each. So I have invited your senior, your people who attended, 12 people in the last class to be part of that project. 6 people dropped out because they were engaged in other startups. So I thought on that, and I thought that they should be part of the experience. So that's why I told them to join that. Even if you don't have time to work, but you should. Basically, the office for this would be a WhatsApp group. And the group is already created. And those of you who are not there, just get it. Okay. Milind is the admin. There are a lot of admins out there. Milind goes for me, right? Yes. Yeah, he's the admin of the group. Just get into the group. All of you get in the group, and then you can participate. You just see and observe. If you found something interesting to do, jump in and move on. Okay. So it's a great experience, and probably it's a pretty unique experience that you not have anymore because ICOs have never been done before by any company, and we will still get it. That's my short. Okay. So today, what we will do is I will discuss. So some of you are new people, right? In fact, all of you are new people. Very few first ones. So I was thinking, I really, because so I want to do something so that it's not boring for me. I have to say, I don't like repeating myself again and again. So, but I want to give you the message, the core of the message. So what I want to do is talk about Imogen Heap.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know who Imogen Heap is? Who is in music here? Who is interested in music? Okay, so Imogen Heap she's a Grammy Award winner and she experiments in music. No one is interested in music here? Who is interested in arts? Who likes arts? Or you know, you're all engineers, right? Everyone is an engineer. We don't have any.
Why is saying only? Did they say that?
Yes. But you have no.
They don't want to be even known as engineers.
But you have no soft side of you, like not interested in flute or painting or music or dramatics. Do you have any of you do that? You do that? What do you do?
Street plays.
Huh? Oh, that's amazing. Street plays and matter. Yeah. But yeah, I think okay. So let's start with that. Because life is just about the logic and not art. It's a very different thing. Okay. Your inspirations. If you want to do great things, the inspiration only comes from your soul. Okay? It does not come from the formulas that you do. And that inspiration, that connection with soul, you will build only when you build a connection with arts. And have you heard Steve Jobs speaking about arts? What did he talk about Mac when he created with the first Mac that he came with? Steve Jobs used to say that the Macintosh, the first Macintosh, while Apple II, how many of you know the background of Apple II?
You read
Steve Jobs. What was the first computer from Apple?
Can you raise your hand? Steve Jobs,
Steve Jobs, obviously everyone knows. Right? Everyone knows. What was the first company from Apple? First computer from Apple? It's called Apple I. What was the second computer? Apple II. What's the third computer?
Lisa.
Lisa was never successful. What was the fourth computer? That was Macintosh. Okay? It's the fourth computer where Steve Jobs found his expression. Okay? Because the first he was overhung by Steve Wozniak. Apple I and Apple II was pure Steve Wozniak. Lisa, he was involved in the project initially in the escape out of it. Okay? So he wanted his revenge. And to take his revenge, he created Macintosh. In Macintosh, he had a separate office, basically separate building, his people were separate. He did not select any person who didn't have any art in him. Okay, so his first, okay, you are a painter. Okay, do you know computer programming? Get it? Yes. You are a topper from Harvard, but you know nothing much. Get out. I don't need it. He made sure that every single person who was in the Mac team had to have a streak of art in it. And then you should say that very publicly. That Macintosh was created, and it's in the 3-story speech of Steve Jobs, from at Stanford Commencement University, it's the most famous speech that Steve Jobs has given. He used to say that if Macintosh was created by artists who also happened to be computers. Okay? So, and that's why Macintosh was such a great. Macintosh was the first computer that created laser printers, laser printing. It created the first. In terms of arts, it was just exceptional, and the usage base of Apple Macintosh was so loyal that is exactly the same value that came into iPhones. So when iPhones were launched, people were standing in the queue in the middle of the night so that they can get that copy of iPhone because they just knew that it would be a piece of art. So we said iPhone was a piece of art, not a piece of science. Whereas Lenovo or IBM or Microsoft, they're making pieces of engineering. Okay? So if you want to be a complete, I would say a complete professional, no matter what you do, you have to have the left brain and the right brain. Okay? And you have to have arts and you have to have science. Okay? So we got into this subject about arts and science is how do we get to this subject?
Imogen Heap.
Yeah? Huh?
Imogen Heap.
Imogen Heap. Yeah, Imogen Heap. So Imogen Heap is one artist. That's the reverse direction. Okay? She's an artist who is experimenting with science. Okay? Because if you are just an artist, then art can be just boring. Okay? People in pure arts is also an incomplete life because they don't have that knowledge. So she is one of the very innovative musicians who basically likes to sample sounds of the world, play different sounds of the world, and creates her own. She's a Grammy Award winner musician, and she has decided to explore the world of blockchains. Okay. And what is blockchain? Does anyone know? I know some people know blockchain. Do you know what blockchain is? It's a new form of digital transaction.
It is basically starting from one transaction to the next. History will be repeated. It's kind of a linked chain of transactions. You can track back where it came from.
Okay.
It's more secure.
Okay. But what gives? That's correct.
Anybody else?
Yeah. But let me frame it. It's a correct question. So you can link all transactions to every transaction. No. But what gives blockchain the power? So why are we talking blockchain?
It is on distributed file system.
Blockchain is on distributed system.
So there is no server.
Centralized server.
Centralized server.
Okay.
That is the.
So what makes it different? What makes it different but didn't have? We had decentralized servers before also. Have you heard of BitTorrent? Download music using BitTorrent. BitTorrent is totally decentralized. Okay. We had this decentralized technology. What is the change that blockchain technology brought to this world? Want to take a chance? Yeah. No chance. Have you heard of the word blockchain? Okay. You want to take a chance? No chance? No idea? You want to take a chance? You want to take a chance? You have to end the class. You want to take a chance? What does blockchain change in this world? Which was not before. It's an open ledger, but what does it change? Open ledger I can make. So what? Yeah, good, you're getting there. It's unlabeled open ledger. But what is it bringing? What's the new thing is coming to a table? What does humanity have now that it did not have before blockchain? Transparency we had, like we have RTI Act, you can make application and tell you what it is. We had transparency. We have all transaction of stock markets known, who has sold what, all transactions are known, all volumes are known, transparent. What does blockchain bring to this humanity that is not there? A uniform currency? Okay, good. We're going there. Yeah. Yeah. So what makes a currency currency? The value. And who was able to give value to currency before? Banks, central banks, governments. Okay? But banks were doing it by themselves, so they need someone's help to give value.
For Indian rupees, it was corresponding to gold.
Gold? Who holds the gold? Yeah? The central bank holds the gold. Okay? Gold and foreign exchange. It is not gold, but gold and foreign exchange. Okay? Mostly foreign exchange and gold. You know. But central bank, the central bank, who is powering the central bank? RBI is the central bank. Who's powering it? Is it, do you want to know? Yeah? Government. So government is giving the bank. And who's powering the government? The taxpayers. So what happens in your currency right now is the value to your Indian rupee is given by the taxpayer. So you give, like, the tax to GDP ratio in India at this point is about 18%. So all 100 rupees of goods and services which are produced in this country, 18% goes to the government. It's taken away from it. And that 18% is used to give value to the currency. Okay? So till now we didn't have any other method other than the taxpayer giving the value. And that's how this is time to which is like the king was doing it, and the king has been transformed into, modern day democracy, But essentially, the taxpayer was giving value to the money. Okay? What blockchain has changed is it has removed the taxpayer from the equation. Now we don't need a taxpayer to give value. The interaction between untrusted entities. You are doing something to me, and I'm doing something to him, and he's doing something to him. That interaction among different people is creating value. And that value is so strong that it so seems that the value given by taxpayer is negligible compared to the value that people can give to themselves at their direct interaction. And this is happening for the first time ever in our world. This never happens. The humanity is experiencing this for the first time. And it's so radical that who are the people who make startups right now? Venture capitalists or the banks and all those things. The concept is so radical that our big financial players at this time, they have not really got used to the idea that this is possible. I mean, they are operating in a world where they need regulations and they need people to tell a director like, okay, they are licensed entities, only licensed people can be the banks, you know. So they are operating licensed, and we don't have enough big players that can profit from such a scenario. Okay, and that's why it's not taking up so fast. Okay, and governments are also scared of it. Okay, so what blockchain has changed this world is it has given the power of creating value, and I would replace creating value by another term. It has given the power of creating trust, because trust creates value. When you trust your government, that's why you trust the money issued by the government, and the trust with the government comes from the backing of the taxpayer. So the whole population is trusting that the taxpayer will pay taxes. Okay? And that is the basis for the value in our modern currency system in all countries of the world. So for the first time ever, the trust is coming just by direct interaction between ordinary people without any taxpayer. Taxpayers are out of equation. Not only that, governments are out of equation. Not only that, central banks are out of equation. And that's a very big deal. That's a very big deal. So, Bitcoins, when this thing started at a price of about 0.0008 cents. Okay? Not even a dollar, not even 1 cent. Okay? A thousandth part of a dollar or cent, 1 cent, 8 times of that. That was the original opening value of a Bitcoin. And within 1 year, the prices jumped 10 times to 0.08 cents within 1 year. Okay? Currently, the value of Bitcoin is $2,500 US. And today, if you go and check out the Forbes magazine, in the Forbes magazine, you will find out that there was a guy, a software developer, who saw that the price of Bitcoin went up 10 times, got excited about it, and decided to put his 1 month's salary, not salary, but 1 month's saving, $3,000 into Bitcoin. The $3,000 has become today $25 million. And so he's traveling business class, staying 5-star hotels. He's quit his job, and so his girlfriend has to. And the girlfriend has no idea how he got so much money. So essentially, what's happening is in an interaction system. Okay, now assuming I interact with you, and you interact with her, and all of you interact among themselves, that creates value. Now imagine a system like this. What will give more value in a system like this? Can you make some guesses? If say there are 10 people interacting among themselves and they create some value, if you keep the system constant, what variable you have to change to have more value? High number of people. So if 15 number of people are interacting, the value increases. Why? Network effects. Okay, network effects. And you know the square law of network effect? The square law of network effect? Who knows it? What's the square law of network effect? N square, right? So the strength of the network, the power of the network increases by the square of network. Okay? So if, let's say, a network increases from 10 to 20, which means it doubles, what is the increase in the value? 4 times. 4 times. Yeah, increases 3 times. Correct. Increases 3 times. Okay. And if the increase in network number of people is 10 times, how much is the increase in the value? 9 times. Yeah. Approximately 9 times. So that's what's happening. What's happening is the number of people that started Bitcoin was about 1,000 people. Okay? When 1,000 became 2,000, the prices went up by 5 times. Okay? When that 2,000 became 4,000, the prices became 10 times. Okay? Right now, it is estimated, because we have no precise way to measure it, estimated that the number of people operating in Bitcoin is about 5 million. Okay? So what happens when the number of people were 1,000 compared to when the number of people are 5 million? What's the increase in value? The increase in value is 0.008 cents to $2,500. That's what it is. What's the population of the world? 7.3 billion. Okay. So what happens if this 5 million population increases to 100 million users? Okay. India has about 800 million mobile phones. Okay. What if 100 million users are interacting on this? There is a 20 times increase in the number of users. What is the increase in the price, in the value of the network? Yeah. Yeah. Do a simple calculation. From 5 million, you are going to 100 million. What's the increase?
400 times.
5 became 100. What's the 100? 20 times increase? So the network number of users increases 20 times. How much will be the value of the network increasing? 20 square times.
Another question.
Yeah.
How does interaction actually create value in terms of?
We'll come back to the question. How interaction creates value? We'll just get to this.
Is it finance? Is it
We'll just
I think
come
this
to
through us.
Yeah.
We are interacting.
Just do that.
We are interacting through WhatsApp.
Through WhatsApp. Okay, cool. I'll just come to the question. Okay. So, yeah. So first let's analyze the implications and then go to the topic. Okay. So you should understand what animal we are dealing with here. Okay. So what happens when the number of users go up from 5 million to 100 million? We have increased the network by 20 times. What's the increase in the value of the network? 400 times. 20 square is 400. Okay. So if the Bitcoin prices today is 2,500, what will be the value of Bitcoins when the 100 million users are participating? You can do, if you have calculator or your phone camera, you can use that. What's the value of Bitcoin when the 100 million people are interacting with it? 2,500 into 400, calculate. Is that you? Yeah. 1 lakh? 1 lakh does? See, 2,500 into 10 is 25,000. Into 100 is 250,000. Multiplied by 4 is a million. Okay, so if number of networks and users of Bitcoin go away from 5 million to 100 million, the value of Bitcoin will go from, it's just a rough approximation, okay? It will go up from $2,500 to $1 million. Okay? So that's the bet which I made in the first product, which is called the Bitcoin bonds. And I said that I'm going to, anyone who's going to willing to invest, I'll create a custom product of Bitcoins. And if anyone is going to invest, let's say whatever amount he invests, I'm going to put it in Bitcoins. And I'm going to guarantee him a minimum rate of return of 13%. I'm going to make sure that his prices, his full price protection, if the price of Bitcoin falls down, then I will put money from my pocket and protect him. But he will be only entitled to 50% of the Bitcoin price gain because he's not taking any downside risk. Okay, so he has to share 50% of upside risk. Okay, so that's the bet I made in the first product. In my first product, the rate of return, and I said, but this condition, the condition is that you have lock-in of 3 years. Okay, you have because you have to allow for the market variation to be even out. Okay, so the lock-in of 3 years. In first 5 months itself, I overshot my target of 36%. Okay, so basically I had 12%, 13% more. So let's say 39%. Okay, twice over. Okay, so right now my first series of bond, I lost this bond in February, early February, and now we are in July. My first series bond has given 86% rate of return to the investor after giving me another 86%. Okay, and it was a very simple game for me, you know. And I've given them 3 years lock-in, so it's a extremely profitable product. It made it profitable in 2 months with the amount of investment that I had. Okay. And but I have stopped that product now because I think I have a more exciting product. Now I want to go back where Bitcoin was in 2009. Okay, probably I will never go there, but if so, I have picked up another blockchain which is a clone of Bitcoin. You know, it's called the floating coin blockchain, which is selling right now at about 8 cents one floating coin. Okay, and the number of users are about 10,000, about 5,000. Correct. And all I have to do is take it to 20,000. Okay, so that's my next product. And I'm also doing what's called an initial coin offering, which is an exciting thing on it, which is I'm doing equivalent of an IPO, because once you have money, then you can create products on top of it. Okay, so I'm creating IPO equivalent, which is called an ICO, on the blockchain network. You know,
The product is not the same, like for example, you lock in for 3 years.
there's no locking for these supers. They're only for the first one. And I've just continued the Bitcoin bond because I'm taking 50% of the risk, and now I need. Initially, I would take that risk because I know the idea, but now I have a much better idea, and I don't have to take that risk. So I have stopped Bitcoin bonds. You know, so only the people who got in early they will do it. You know. And so now I have only one product right now, which is Ranchimot FZD token, which will actually gain more than the Bitcoin's gain because I was late in the Bitcoin game, but I'm early in the story. You know. Okay, so that's what Ranchimot is doing. So all these products, they fit into my two criteria that everything has to be on the internet and has to be something new. Forget about it. You never had a market link instrument which was giving a minimum guaranteed rate of return ever. You know, and I'm the first one ever to do that. So it comes also, it qualifies for the second criteria. It has to be done for the first time ever in the world. Okay. Now to your question: what gives value to interaction? Okay. What gives value to the economy? Why do people become countries or people become rich? We have to go to that question. To be able to answer the question, what gives value to interaction? Okay? Why is Bangladesh poor but Switzerland rich? Bangladesh has a much higher population, so it's many times. Which one is the richer country? Switzerland. Why is Switzerland richer and Bangladesh poor?
Goods and services they produce.
So
More people are ready to buy them, so more money flows in there, their currency becomes stronger.
So more people are willing to buy goods and services being produced by people in Switzerland, and less number of people are willing to buy goods and services produced in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Okay. But why is that? Why are not more people buying more goods and services from Bangladesh?
Might be because of the quality of the product, the type of product.
Per capita. I mean, is the DNA of people in Bangladesh different than the DNA of people in Switzerland? I mean, are they different species? Exactly the same people, right? The difference between Bangladesh people in Bangladesh and people in Switzerland is Switzerland permits more interaction from the citizens, whereas Bangladesh has imposed more laws. Okay? If you're a Bangladeshi citizen, you cannot send money outside from Bangladesh. You cannot buy assets outside Bangladesh. If you want any external person to put money in Bangladesh, he has to go through many laws. The rules are very onerous. The rules are very bureaucratic. So you have prevented exchanges. So I will replace the word interaction with another word called exchange. So a system, an economic system that permits more exchange, like more free trade. Okay, if you do more free trade, that means there is more exchange. If there is more exchange, then there will be more wealth created. Because more exchange means more exchange of surpluses. Okay? And when there is more exchange of surpluses, that means there is more wealth creation. There will always be surplus. It's not possible that there is no surplus. You know, whenever there are two different, because no two communities are exactly homogeneous and identical. There's some difference somewhere. And if there's some difference somewhere, how does surplus come? If there's some difference somewhere, then someone will do some job better than this guy, and then that guy will have surplus. What is surplus? Surplus is you are doing better in producing something compared to this guy. So you will have some advantage in some area, and he will have some advantage in some area. And if you permit free trade between them, then you will get wealth for both of them. And if you stop free trade between them, then you will be basically poor because you have stopped interaction and you have stopped exchange. Okay? So that's the concept. The concept is interaction leads to exchange, and there's an exchange. It means there's more exchange of surplus. And when there's more exchange of surplus, then there's more exchange of wealth, which shows up in the value of things.
This can be applied to tangible products, or you replace
It turns out, and now we are learning. Someone was asking some question somewhere, right? You were asking
This question because here you have exchanges like from one country. If you look at the oil producing nations,
right.
to have the exchange, they also are producing the product. In bitcoins, are you producing any sort of
Okay,
product?
so let's get back to that. Okay, let's get back to that. Those questions are separate. So both are similar questions. Okay. So the question is do you need a tangible product? Right? That's what you said, right? Or a tangible oil that you're getting oil out here.
But you need to have more number of bitcoins coming in or something of that sort.
So only from the cryptocurrency world we are coming to this understanding which we never had before. Like when Facebook came out or social media came out, it took out, exposed a part of our hidden personality, social interaction that we never knew before, that we like to share so much. Okay? We like to share so much that is one of the most powerful emotions that have never been addressed before. And that was very natural because man is a social animal, which should have been very, very clear. But something like Facebook or MySpace or Orkut, it took 2004 and 2005 to come out because it's only then it was realized that sharing is such a powerful, it creates such a powerful value system. Sharing is also kind of an exchange, okay? And and that we realized only through Facebook. Similarly, is through cryptocurrency we are realizing that there is no difference between a tangible product and intangible product. Okay? So long as you are willing to give away a part of what you have for something that you don't have, an exchange is possible. And in this equation, whether the product is real or not real, virtual, it does not make a difference at all. In fact, in case of virtual, and the reason why Ranchi Mall, one of the first criteria is that every product has to be virtual. In case of virtual product, the marginal cost of distribution is zero, which means it's much efficient to carry on exchanges compared to a place where you have to do real products. Okay, and that's the reason why actually Ranchi Mall started an e-commerce company, and I realized before realizing cryptocurrency that I have to get into pure virtual products. Okay, and it's only pure virtual products that have created the biggest companies in the last 10 years. Google, Facebook, Twitter, name any big giant company that has emerged in the last 10 years, their core product has been a virtual product. Okay. So it turns out that oil being produced is no different than if they're producing bitcoins and someone else did not have bitcoins. Okay. Right now, the Middle Eastern countries have oil, and countries like India do not have energy, or they have energy but not sufficient. So they have to get oil, and for that they have to give something that they have, because we have IT software earnings, and we have maybe agriculture and cotton, and we give those things against the oil, and that's getting the truth. They need cotton and we need oil. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the company that you mentioned. On the internet, they just platform where cash comes from selling ads.
I'm sorry?
Where cash generation comes from selling ads.
Who's cash?
The companies, Facebook or Google or
They're selling ads. They're indirectly in cash. They're first creating an exchange system in which people are exchanging their time to share stuff. Okay? And then they have created an indirect monetization model in which you are getting access to demographic information of the users. Okay? So the ads are being targeted to male and certain classification depending on name. So they are indirectly in caching. There's two exchanges. There's one exchange between you and Facebook. Okay, and there's the second exchange between advertiser and Facebook, which is giving extra demographic information. That's a combination of two exchanges. And because the two exchanges are exchange laws, so Facebook for $2 billion is not a very powerful exchange. Okay, if there was a single exchange, a direct exchange, then for 2 billion people, you would create a much powerful network and much more valuable network than Facebook. If Facebook is about $400 billion, if someone in Bitcoin world can do 2 billion users, he will be about $2 trillion.
Entire environment.
Yeah.
So there's a company who's advertising who has a product, and it's advertising through Facebook, doing all these audio optimization to a customer, getting data for the customer, and trying to target it better.
Right.
The end goal for them is that the customer has to buy the product. That's how the revenue is sort of flowing throughout the system, if that is correct. So again, here in a Bitcoin, if it's just based on interactions, then there's nothing.
Exchange. So let's build on exchanges.
But again, there has to be something that fuels the exchanges. So if something is increasing in valuation, it has to be either because the demand is.
There has to be a demand, right?
Yeah.
So let's simplify your thing. People companies are buying, so Facebook can only show limited ads, okay, because your ad viewing capacity is limited. And that scarcity creates value to it. Okay? So people who want access to that space so that they can sell their products, which is separate interaction, separate state, will not complicate it. They are willing to pay so that they can have access to it. And whether they sell, they cannot, that's a matter of their experience.
We have next class.
Wallet kind of
Next
system.
3:40.
So in a wallet, we have some about that has been uploaded to it, and we're using this for different exchanges. So how is blockchain different from that?
Yes. Yeah, so
Fine.
promoters.
Fine.
So Bitcoin has created its own demand, and the demand of Bitcoin comes from the goods and services that you can buy from Bitcoin. And those goods and services are not goods and services like shoes and watches and your haircuts and your tuition fees from NITIE. Those goods and services are in the Bitcoin wallet. Okay? So if you want to buy mining equipment, you can only buy through Bitcoin. If you want to buy altcoins, okay, there's about 56 billion dollars of altcoins other than Bitcoin. The only one way to buy that is through Bitcoin.
So I'll be closing next 2-3 minutes. If you would like to have it, then we can have it. Yeah.
So the government of India is
So I think
advising
these questions we can ask later, because only 2 minutes we have.
So yeah, so we'll have another interaction, for all such questions. So what I want to give you a message before I go. This is entrepreneurship class. Like everyone is entrepreneurship student, right?
Yeah.
So you are in entrepreneurship class because you want to experience entrepreneurship, or you want to be an entrepreneur, or that's why you are here in the course. Okay. So you should get involved or get an idea that is bleeding edge. Okay, that is absolutely at top of the knowledge curve all over the world, and that has a potential to become another Yahoo or another Google or another. You should be working on those ideas because you will be working on some ideas. Okay. So what I want to, when you have access to knowledge, okay, this knowledge that you got at this point of time, so it's not many people know it. Okay? You are one of the privileged ones who have access to this knowledge. Okay, or this kind of knowledge. Okay? Once you have access to this kind of knowledge, you should be in a position to start thinking, if not doing, about things that would bring something new to the world, just like blockchain was something new. Okay?
When we are in a hurry to close, because the others are.
In stocks, there are rules and regulations, but there are no insider trading. Who told you that insider trading was bad for investors?
It's not bad for investors, it's bad for people who are getting the last to get in.
Who told you that? It turns out that insider trading was actually good.
For the investors.
For investors.
For the investors. Yeah.
Insider trading, or just not insider trading, but all consumer protection has been created to empower governments.
Yeah.
Okay? Governments have created, like all the consumer protection laws which have been done, they are increasing the transaction cost in the economy. And you are paying significantly higher price for the same goods and services, including the cost of administration of that regulation. So and we are learning all of these only from the Bitcoin world because the economy is so complicated. So we have a cryptocurrency called Ripple that went from about $1 billion to $10 billion. Most of it is accurate. Investors are richer 10 times. Because insider trading is creating demand. And when something creates demand, the value goes up. So it turns out that all the things which we have cryptocurrency is forcing us to rethink on almost every single thing. So it just turns out that every single thing that you were told was bad, you thought was really bad, it turns out it was a great create to favor a centralized agency.
Yeah. But it makes sense because the people are the ones who problems, right? So people
the basic philosophy is why are now when I talked about the difference between Switzerland and Bangladesh, I'll tell you one thing which I'll tell you now. The reason why Switzerland is rich and Bangladesh is poor, the difference is government regulation. It's the government regulation which has made that poor. But the government regulation has stopped them to access the markets which is required to generate the innovation needed to create new goods and services. Okay? And we are all discovering, so it just so seems out to me that if we had a world where you could create a trust, a contract system without the government, you would create much higher values, and consequently, you'll eliminate poverty.
But that is already happening. Like China just recently, last week, I think they are the currency on the blockchain and they are planning to move soon. So once all the currencies get onto the blockchain, then there won't be much use for Ripple and all altcoins.
But who told you that governments will end up being a winner in this game? There was a very major security weakness that was almost immediately when China did that. Okay, and the security weakness was in blockchain. You need more number of participants. Okay, we just did a calculation which is the number of participants that decide the value of a network. Now, if you take all the participants to just one, okay, so you have eliminated maybe 1.2 billion participants out there. So the value of that network will be much lower. Okay, so that's a fundamental theoretical value creation problem that a centralized government blockchain has. And the second problem which has come up is who holds the keys. You know, basically a blockchain works using the private keys. Who holds the private key for the central bank? Because if you have private keys shared across 10 different people, you cannot do it to only one person because that one person will be very powerful. So you have to split across multiple people. And if let's say one or two of those people collude and leak that private key and steal money out of the government blockchain, okay, essentially the value of government-backed blockchain currency will be zero the next day. And it's a very big security weakness because, you know, in today's blockchain, he has his own private key, he has his own private key. It's all individuals, small individual people who are collaborating and creating the interactions, okay? And that is getting value. So once you take away that, then that blockchain will be less valuable. And it's just not less valuable, it's almost impossible to do a blockchain on it. Then you are much better doing a database, a centralized database.
So you can say that distributing key is possible with this new technology.
Absolutely.
Billions of people can have.
The power of blockchain comes only when billions of small people work together. If there is one big fat guy, the power goes away.
And so this is empowered and enabled by technology.
Enabled by technology.
And this was not there earlier.
This is first time in humanity.
Probably that.
First time in humanity.
But sir, even Bitcoin, like in 2013, it was hacked at Mt. Gox and $400 billion.
Hacked, it will hack, but the value is bounced back.
He's a real devil's advocate.
No, it's good. No, it's good. It's good. I'm glad you're laughing at us. We need it, fact. You know, it's good. You know, I expect other people to ask questions like those. You know, yeah, you have to ask all those questions. You know. So in 2013, what happened was that Bitcoin went to a speculative phase, the same phase any asset can go, like the real estate in Florida, like the stock market in India for Husher with a scam, just before Husher with a scam, like the US markets before the great financial crisis of 2008. It went through a bubble phase where demand, irrational exuberance, you know, overstripped the genuine demand for the core product, which is the Bitcoin. Okay. So what happened in 2013 was there's this island of Cyprus. You know, Cyprus declared. So there are a lot of Russian investors who had put money in Cyprus, okay, and Malta. When Cyprus went through a banking financial crisis, and it said that every person who had put money in the banking system, they will lose half of their deposit because the money is lost due to the financial crisis. Okay, when that happened, people immediately jumped into Bitcoins. Okay, they were technologically aware people, and the Bitcoin prices like it jumped from $200 to $1,300. Okay, and when it was realized that you know, this event was oversold, okay, it went back again to $200. Okay, but the prices it took less than 3 years to come back. You know, we are now almost double that phase is over. So another boom can also and bust can also happen. But now it's going to happen at $10,000. It will come back maybe another $2,000, $3,000. But if you take at a secular trend, the secular trend is what I talked about. It will be defined by the number of users who will use this network.
Power of network.
That is the power of network. That's going to define the value of the network.
So, but then a pure bubble view would be that it went very high and then it came down.
Pure bubble is when tulips scam happened in Europe in 1600. Those tulips you can only use for decoration. Okay, and then the prices went 1,000 times up. Isaac Newton was one of the greatest scientists of all times. He lost money to this scam. No, he lost money in salt ski scam. So there's another salt ski scam that happened. a bubble that happened. Okay, not including the scam. Okay, yeah. So scams, sorry, the exuberance is normal part of a free market economy. But if you have many different products, okay, if your all assets are not considered right now, the problem is most of the people assets are considered either in real estate. That's where most of the wealth of the people are concentrated, or in stock market, okay, or in government bonds. Government bonds cannot have a bubble because it's a dead instrument. Bubbles can develop in real estate market, you can develop in stock market, you can develop in interest rate market. Okay, so if a bubble develops in any of these markets and if it collapses, there's so many people involved and it impacts the whole world. But if you had a world where there are 1,000 different assets, independent assets, and buyers beware philosophy operates, there's no one to save you if you lose money. Okay? You have to take all the precautions that you can take before buying into it. Once you're bought into it, it's over. That's it. Okay, buyers beware. If that were to apply, then any single crash in any single market will not impact anyone because you only have 5% of your asset invested in a particular asset class. So that would be a safe place. But in that world, you will have a lot of noise, you will have a lot of scams, you will have a great number of bad ideas, a great number of good ideas, and 2 or 3 genius ideas. But over a period of time, those 2 or 3 genius ideas will emerge. Okay, right now, the genius idea is only one: Bitcoin. The Bitcoin blockchain. That's the only genius idea right now. You know, and so I'm only in that. I'm not in Ethereum at all at this point, because I don't know the long-term stability of Ethereum. Okay. So in that world, there will be a lot of scams, there will be a lot of good ideas, a lot of bad ideas, and 2 or 3 genius ideas, and all I have to do is to hook onto one of them. And just one of those genius ideas.
So, but my main doubt is in the amount talks when the bubble burst, it wasn't because people started selling, it was because $400 million of the bitcoins was stolen, and even till date, those people haven't gotten it back.
Yeah, I mean, so
they virtually disappeared, and that's why people started selling after the news came out.
Right. No, that happens even now. You know, I mean, there was every time. That's a new risk which we have not seen before. Okay, to the financial system that we have not seen before. That bitcoins is an anonymous, it's a transaction between anonymous parties, and the anonymous party established the ownership right using the private keys. And if someone steals the private keys, he can claim someone else's money, basically. So that's what happened. So the problem was not with Bitcoin. The problem was with centralized exchanges. Okay. So centralized exchange like Mt. Gox. Okay. It was using a single private key for the entire wallet, and someone stole the private key and drained it off all the wallet. Or there are also accusations that John Karpelins, the guy who was Mark Karpelins, who was owner of Mt. Gox, he stole it himself and said it was a hacking because no one can know about it. Okay. We don't know what happened, you know, but these things are expected. There will be something, but at the end of the day, the long-term secular demand will far outstrip a temporary IT risk event like that. And we are learning from IT risk and other exchanges are very strong. They're still getting hacked. But the real solution is to have long-term solution to have decentralized exchanges. Okay. For a decentralized architecture, you also need decentralized exchanges. So we have something like local Bitcoin.IT and Paxful. They're 2 amazing decentralized exchanges that are coming up, where people can directly get dollars from people. It's a people-to-people transaction. When that happens, then this is really taken care of. But that in a long-term basis, I mean, I keep all of Bitcoin in myself, and I don't let ZPay or any other Bitcoin blockchain.info to store my Bitcoin packets. I do it myself because I know that they can be hacked. And I flag it as a major risk to all my investors that if you are doing Bitcoin, so you make sure that you have your own private keys, not given to anyone else, and those private keys are stored in 3 or 4 different places. It's very strong passwords, and those passwords should be stored independent of the private keys. That's it. You are cool. Gold can be stored. Any asset can be stored. House can be. We have a house in Calcutta, someone has occupied illegally. So any asset can be stored.
Rohit is quite direct, and it's not fake, it's something that should understand. The first is that it is an extensive practice, which and exposure-wise, that's second thing. Red is one, a lot of people also will think, so what the heck, what the heck, second thing, practice second. Third is technology-wise is an absolute into it like that. You will see the DNA of the technology, not just as a periphery image, which is a new. Fourth thing is that E is practices it. वो करते रहते ऐसा कि रूल से ऐसा वो ऐसा नहीं. As an MBA student, you don't have right to say perceive is not a value.
Perceive is the only value. There's nothing like intrinsic value. What's intrinsic value? Who knows what's the definition of intrinsic? There's only one value what the market discovers. That's the only value. There's no other value. And that value changes all the time. It's not a fixed value.
As an MBA, please understand, the whole world is perceived. And I'm a hobby professor. I'm a behavior professor. Please.
And let me, I want to go forward to that question. It's a good question to ask. But let's have to take a transaction so we can understand this concept a bit deeper. WhatsApp, with zero revenue and 40 people on board, was sold for $19 billion to Facebook. The revenue was zero. Okay, if you do a discounted cash flow, the valuation will be zero. Okay, it had 40 people. It had a very small office. You add all the assets, all the assets within $1 million. And it was burning cash. Okay, it was just sending SMS those days, which was the single biggest cost. And then obviously the cost of office, the cost of salary. Okay. What's intrinsic value in WhatsApp?
But that's not Flipkart.
Flipkart is a different value. I'll pick up the Flipkart example. But let's just talk about WhatsApp. Okay, it's a very interesting case study in terms of perceived value, whereas okay. So what's Mark said about the one buyer in the world who thought I can pay $90 million for it.
It's one industry that Facebook wasn't in, and I believe it would bound them up.
So there was a buyer for something, and that one single buyer thought it was valued at $90 million. That one buyer decided what's the value of an asset.
90 billion.
And you would have no other guy in the world, if you had done an intrinsic value analysis on WhatsApp, they'll say it's crazy. But finally, WhatsApp shelled out real assets, it shelled out its own stocks and a little of cash as well. It shelled out a real asset to acquire WhatsApp for $19 billion, and the transaction was done through $19 billion. So anything that says that there's something called intrinsic value is absolutely mistaken. There's nothing intrinsic value. There's only one value, which is the exposed value, which is what one buyer or some buyers are willing to pay for something. There are some sellers who are willing to sell at that price. And that's the only thing that matters. Okay? So if the Bitcoin is today selling at $2,500, that is value. And there's nothing like intrinsic value. In fact, there's no intrinsic value in okay, this was a huge debate in economy, which I was talking about Prasad yesterday in the evening. So there was this whole question of what creates value. Okay, the economists have always been fascinated with this concept. Okay, so there was this. The first concept was that anything which has utility has value. Okay, that was the concept. The early days of economics. Okay, very Adam Smith around 1800. Adam Smith, Wealth of Nation came in 1776. Around 1800, David Ricardo came. And there's a big debate in basically economics was discussed in the British circles and the German circles, and the French circles, who took it as an organized science, in the European circles. They were debating what creates value. And the first issue was that anything which has utility has value. So if you use something, like a drink, if you use shoes or have clothes you wear, it has utility. Okay? And so they find a unit called utility, okay, which is a basic unit of utility. And they started debating in terms of how much utility will lead to how much value, which is pounds or dollars or whatever the local currency. Sterling is the currency of UK versions, okay? And then there was an observation which shattered the theory completely, okay? That observation is termed as the water-diamond paradox. What is more useful, water or diamond?
Water.
Water, if you don't have water, die. So utils measure of water is almost infinite, because you need water every single day, 3 times a day, all the time, and if you don't get it for 3 days, you will die. Okay, and human being will not want to die, and he can give everything he has if death was something that he could avoid by giving it. Okay, so water in terms of util had infinite value. Diamond in terms of util had 10 utils, because you only need to show and shine, and there were no industrial grade cutters those days. Okay, so it's like 1700. Machinery, industrialism was not there. So all you could use diamond was to show, as jewelry, nothing else.
Even after all that utilities,
it's just 10 utils, something. Okay, so you had infinite util for water, and you had 10 utils for diamond. But when it comes to pricing, water was free of cost. So people were giving water free of cost. But diamond was given free of cost. Diamond was charging a bomb. You had to give your house or all your producers, still not getting diamond. Okay. Okay, and that basically tossed out the utility theory of value to dustbin, basically. And then they gave a solution. They gave, okay, it's not utility. The way they solved this problem was they gave the concept of marginal utility, okay, which is an extra utility that you get. So you have a lot of water, you drink water, but the marginal utility is very, very low, whereas the marginal utility of damage is very, very high. It's trying to fix this theory of utility, and they gave this concept of marginal utility, and in fact, economics has been in margins ever since. We're still doing marginal productivity, and marginal utility and all those things, but it's not marginal utility. I mean, marginal utility is just a mathematical way of looking at it. Utility has no role in value. Value comes from interaction. Game theory is the right theory, is the right framework to analyze value. It's an interaction between consumers and producers. Okay, and it could be just one producer in case of one consumer in case of WhatsApp, or it could be many producers and many consumers in case of Bitcoin. But it's the interaction. And what is the equilibrium point? It's called the Nash equilibrium. It's the Nash equilibrium. The point at which it settles is the value in case of. And so again, with Bitcoin, we have realized it's a game theoretic framework which is giving us a new understanding of what economics is, and what value is. And another side effect of this economy is like, see, a Facebook like from a rich person is exactly the same as a Facebook like from a poor person. Okay, so the interaction from a rich person is exactly the same as the interaction from a poor person. It's just one interaction. Okay, so it's a more egalitarian economy.
I love it. I mean,
it's a much more egalitarian economy.
As an education style of it.
Ambani's one interaction is the same as the guy sitting in the part of slum interaction. Okay, and both of them will get equal amount of rich for equal amount of interactions. Yeah.
I read a book recently called Homo Deus, which talks about this. Homo Deus.
Yes, Homo Deus. Okay.
It's by an Israeli author. He talks basically about how technology is changing lives and about interactions. How the more data a person generates, the more valuable he'll be to the system. And the measure of any person's value would be the amount of data that person generates.
Amazing concept.
So that fits into this perspective.
Amazing concept.
But
I totally agree. In fact, in the Middle East, I just came from Middle East. They basically talk about it. They say data is the new gold, or data is the new oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
because gold is also a store of value. Oil is also a store of value. Data is also a store of value. So if you can generate more data, you're more valuable. That's what people who are on social media who have 1 million likes. Okay, they basically they earn hundreds and thousands of dollars just by making one tweet, or if they have millions of followers, or having one post on it.
So why would be generating more data than compared to the guy?
Because you have more information, because you have more skills, you have more knowledge, and that knowledge is leading you to do more data interactions in this case. Okay, you are going to more websites, more servers, you are doing more Facebook, you are doing more Twitter, you are doing more online admissions, you are doing more online examinations, and that guy has fewer utility. He has to work, he has to carry a water pipe for the whole day, or he has to drive an auto for the whole day. So he's driving auto for the whole day, so there's no space for data. His entire data usually is playing a song, a private song on his mobile phone.
JNU Kanyakumar today is a star, basically interactions. You're also like what value you have it. You have 0. You have a negative 8 like at least for the 2 years like. Whereas a gentleman who speaks, who interacts, star.
Coming to cryptocurrency,
So information interactions is the essence of the whole thing. Why you don't interact, nobody knows about it. Why you want it, that's your choice. If you are interacting with value, you will also make you connect. You don't want to interact with it. Not that you don't have it like that. You can do anything. I get value because I talk to somebody. People love to see me, so that's the reason I get value. Otherwise, why? He gets value because he put it. So the question is that interactions, information, knowledge, sharing, democracy, most valuable things in society. Especially, we people with such a background, such a well-established, well-to-do. We are different valuable. There is no doubt about it. So we should be able to. And please, it's not about self-interest. Not that we get a 7-digit salary, we do it. I mean, we definitely get 7-digit salary. Who said we don't get it? We do get it. The question is that how much it can be done, how much impact it can make. An amazing thing which I look for. Yeah.
So, like, if you have to invest in cryptocurrency, like we have seen the track record of Bitcoins, but how do you decide on which new cryptocurrency we should invest and we should not?
No, new.
How is this?
See, the way I do it is I wait. Okay, you don't have to be early in the game. Okay, I never invested into Bitcoin till last year. I observed for 3 years. Okay, after 3 years, I made a determination that I should start investing in it.
And how do you know that it's not stable now? And like,
so you have to go back to Warren Buffett principles in this. Okay, for a long-term asset. Okay, so if you get into a long-term asset which has a long-term durability, that will essentially be going on forever. Okay, if you look at Visa stock prices, okay, since its IPO, Visa stock has only gone one direction. Very linear it has gone up. So no matter what price you got in, if you had known that Visa will always be there, people will always be using credit cards and they will be using more credit cards. And Visa is the largest credit card company in the world. You would know that that statement is true now. That statement is going to be true 3 years from now. That statement is going to be 10 years from now. And you can see it, that statement is going to be 20 years from now. And then you will invest in Visa. That's what I did. I invested in Visa. So, in investment, what is important is that you should spend all your time in getting the asset name right. It does not matter what time you get it, what views you get it. Once you get your asset name right, get it at any point of time. Whenever it falls, it will come back and go up after 3 years of time. If you are a long-term investor. Okay.
so how are you so that any other cryptocurrency will not overtake Bitcoin?
No, I mean, because it has economies of scales. Just like no other company can think of Facebook in social media, Bitcoin is Facebook of cryptocurrencies.
But at the time of Orkut, no one imagined that Facebook will come in.
Orkut had a management that could screw up. Bitcoin doesn't have a management team that can screw up. Bitcoin is just interactions of the people. Where can you go get it wrong? You can get the IT systems wrong, but that's true for all the cryptocurrencies. So what are the additional, and what happened was that Bitcoin turned out to be a mother currency for all other cryptocurrencies. Okay, so no matter what, if any other cryptocurrency grows, to get into that cryptocurrency you have to first buy Bitcoin. And that is never going to change. And if you read newspapers and media, people talk only about Bitcoins. What are the other cryptocurrencies you know other than Bitcoin?
So then Ethereum will be going.
Ethereum is faster than Ethereum. Other than Ethereum, what do you know?
Again, one big.
Okay, let's do a small survey this room. How many of you have heard of Ethereum before? Raise your hands. 3 people. How many of you have heard of Bitcoin before? See, your brand collection of Bitcoin is concerned. You know about Ethereum, but masses don't know about Ethereum. In an interactive system, knowledge is information. Knowledge is important. How much someone knows, what's the number of people who knows about something is a very important thing. And the number of people knowing about Bitcoin is way higher than Ethereum. It's only the top deep that people know about Ethereum. General people, the mass doesn't know. In newspaper, there's no Ethereum, there's only Bitcoins. And that's not going to change. So Ethereum is a very powerful blockchain. It gives you the power of programming in blockchain, and it's a Turing complete program. So it's a lot of power. So when you have a lot of power, your prices can go up dramatically when success happens, but can also fall when a hack happens. So there's a lot of variations and variability, which is not a good trade for an asset. For an asset, you should be able to predict all the positives and losses, and we know where things can go wrong, which is basically simplifies IT hacks. Okay, that's where things can go wrong. Other than that, there's no risk.
So once the general population gets to know that them buying Bitcoin enriches them only if there are more people to adopt Bitcoin, and them adopting Bitcoin enriches the people who have already bought Bitcoin.
Correct.
Do you think the mentality towards this will change and the governments will take action? Because then
governments can take action, but they can't stop it. Bitcoin has been illegal all the way from 2009 till recently. Illegal. Okay? But there's dark web, you can't control that. So government will not be able to stop people from exchanging Bitcoins. Because technology does not do that. It's just, technology is too much for them to handle that. Okay? So government is not here. All the Bitcoin's value has happened because people interacted in spite of government keeping it illegal, and in spite of government actively discouraging people by telling it's something which is be cautious, we don't know what to do. They have tried to scale people away, but still the Bitcoin has gone up. But so governments are not a big player in this. They are a player, but not a big player in this. Government is not a factor, they're 5% factor. The biggest factor is consumer sentiments. in the Bitcoin market. Okay, so if something wrong happens, the sentiment goes in the value, the prices crashes down dramatically. So governments are illegal in Bitcoin, literally.
So, but now the consumer sentiment is going up because more and more players are adopting Bitcoin.
Consumer sentiment is going up because as number of users, as one of you here, if one of you side buys Bitcoin, it adds to the network effect. And I told you why the Bitcoin. As more number of users, so every year in India, the number of Bitcoin users went up 4 times since demonetization. That is adding the value of the Bitcoin network. So as more and more people start hearing, some percentage of them start buying Bitcoin, it will automatically increase the Bitcoin value. That will keep on happening till Bitcoin reaches something about what Facebook or 2 billion users are there, you know. And if other people see that as real money, then probably everyone will start getting Bitcoin, and the price of Bitcoin still go up further.
So, but then the consumer sentiment was going up because first it started to darker because on a very low level. Then technology companies in the US like Overstock, WordPress, Microsoft, Xbox, then they started accepting Bitcoin.
But they stopped now.
They stopped now.
Yeah.
So in the
so Microsoft
has gone down.
And then what the big news in the Bitcoin world has been some certain governments making it legal. Like Japan is making it legal. Russia has made it partially legal. India has said that it's considering to make it legal. And that's the latest economic position. Those news gave a temporary boost to sentiment, temporary spikes in the price. But those are not the price drivers. The price drivers are the number of users, new net users getting to a Bitcoin network. That's the real price driver.
So as you said, on number of people on Ethereum is much less than number of people on Bitcoin. So to double the number on Ethereum is much more easier, and it may occur very fast as compared to double the number of people already on Bitcoin.
That's correct, and that's why the price of Ethereum has gone faster than Bitcoin. So the price of Ethereum was about $8, and it went all the way to $400, and so it went to almost you would say 30 times, and then its right was for $250. That's exactly correct. But once you have, but still the number of users in Bitcoin is much higher than the number of users in Bitcoin. So Ethereum will temporarily period through consumer sentiment will spike up, it will go back again. So Ethereum will never, it may, I don't know, I'm not so sure what's happening with Ethereum, but I'm absolutely sure what's going to happen with Bitcoin. I'm not worried if something else becomes bigger than Bitcoin. Ethereum can become, it could be, I don't care. What I need is certainty in an asset class that Bitcoins should grow in value more than 12% per annum. That's what I need. I don't have that certainty in Ethereum, but I have that certainty in Bitcoin. So let anyone become bigger, I don't care. Become big, you become rich, I don't care. I'm also becoming rich using my method. I don't have to be exactly one asset, right? Yeah.
So Visa can handle about 50,000 transactions a second right now, and the Bitcoin network is at very low, about 8 or something like that transactions per second. So with that speed, if more people come on, isn't it just going to get more jammed?
Not jammed. What it will do is it will increase the cost of transaction. It will increase the scarcity. Okay? And what will happen is only the high value transactions will go to the Bitcoin network. And a decentralized network can never compete with a centralized network in speeds. It can never compete. Okay? Just not possible. Because centralized network is one server, it can increase the server, it can do direct transactions, but just a quick transfer between like one database entry to other database entry to the same server. In Bitcoin, that transaction has to go into all the computers which are running the blockchain. Okay? So that will definitely be slower also out here. So Bitcoin network will not eliminate Visa like networks. Okay? So for transaction system, Visa will still be a more powerful system. For high volume, low value stuff. But for high value, low volume stuff, Bitcoin will be the place of choice. So it will be, so what has happened is they had envisaged Bitcoin to be an exchange medium. But instead of being an exchange medium, it's turning out to be something like gold. Instead of being something like money, US dollars, it's turning out to be more like something like gold.
So but then if at that speed it only allows the high value transactions to go through, it's inhibiting the interactions between the low value transactions, right? So
no, the transactions will still happening, but happening at a delayed speed. Okay? It's not eliminating interactions. People are still transacting. The recording is happening. Okay? Transactions are still happening here. But you're right. It has an indirect effect on the interactions, and that's the reason why the biggest, the upper limit on the Bitcoin network has come because of the scalability of how much transactions you can do, and that's why if you heard of Segwit, they're doing something Segwit that will increase the network capacity by 4 times, and that should increase the value much faster the moment they do it. Okay? That's the expectation. That is you cannot have everything in hand. Okay? Nothing, you don't have the perfect solution. You gain a new feature at an expense of some other feature. So the gain in value, you are gaining in terms of it's a higher class asset and goes much faster in value than other asset class, but the price that you're paying is performance. You cannot be high performance system. That's what it is.
So can you talk about hard fork? I never understood the concept of what a hard fork is.
Okay. So what happens is, you know the basis of blockchain, right? A block creates another block. Okay. But who is creating the blocks? It's a consensus between multiple people interaction. Okay. There is no one database. Okay. So there are, let's say all of you have a copy. So all of you, someone creates a block, and the remaining people accept that you created the block. Usually that's a very settled debate. But sometimes what happens is, suppose you have an upgrade of software, and softwares are different, okay? Then it's possible that half of the people will create block in one direction, and second half of the people will create block in the second direction, and both of them believe that they are right. So usually the Bitcoin network has been designed to converge. If there's a difference in block, it is designed to converge. But if the softwares are different, then what can happen is both of the parties believe that they are in convergence. Because no one is seeing other people's data, everyone is seeing his own data. Okay? So from your own data you have to believe that you are in convergence or not. And if it goes long enough, okay, if a lot of transactions have been recorded, then it's impossible to merge it together. When that event happens, it's called a hard fork. And what it does, it splits a transaction into it splits the entire population into two different parties. And since the number of interactions have gone by half, the value goes down by 1/4. I mean, the new value is 1/4. Okay, so that's the hard fork problem. Okay, and so they tried very hard not to have hard fork. In fact, there was a Bitcoin network. Ethereum went through hard fork after Ether DAO scandal, where they had a smart contract which drained all the money in that smart contract. So 165 million USD was drained out, was stolen basically. So one party decided that this steal is valid because in the rules it's a perfect transaction as per the original rule. The other party, led by Vitalik Buterin, decided that the steal is not valid and they reversed the transaction. So now there's a hard fork, and that's why we had Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, which are hard fork. Bitcoin also had a hard fork very early days, because there was a difference in wallet software, so they operated solid transactions differently. And but it was very early days, and they learned the lessons, and there have been no hard fork since then. And there was a possibility of hard fork on scalability issue, but people understand all the parties in Bitcoin, their only source of earning is value of Bitcoin itself. So no one wants the value of Bitcoin to go down. So when your interest gets affected, and all the parties get interest affected, if your hard fork happens, then they come to some compromise pretty much. They came to a compromise and then hard fork. But that's what hard fork is. Okay? Okay, sir. I think it was great. All of you, I would request all of you to join the WhatsApp group that we have to have more interactions. And then I'm doing the ICO. If you want to join, you can join. It will be a great learning experience, and I hope a great earning experience for you.
So, what is the business idea of the ICO? Like most of the ICOs that I've been seeing coming on the Ethereum blockchain, they are doing some kind of value creation.
No, what they are doing, most of the ICOs, what they are doing is they are getting new technology for the blockchain of Bitcoin in some form.
So, what is the new technology that your ICO is doing?
So, I'm not doing the technology part. I'm the first guy in the world who is selling a profitable company's stake, which is profitable. All the guys don't guys are lost making. Okay? And they're coming to the program and say, give me $100, I'll make this. When it makes it, you have users, and then you will gain because more user gain, and again the network effect and all that power effect is taking. Okay? My offering is, I'm already going to give you a profitable company with profitable products. And the profit of the company will go, and I can create, you are basically investing in my ability, the party's ability to do new technologies on the basis of his track record what he has done before. And so I'm offering 1% of the company. So it's more like a traditional IPO, except everyone who's offering ICO they have great technology skills, but they're very poor business skills. Okay? I come on the table with good technology skills and good business skills. I won't claim great, you know, but I will say I'm good in both technology side and on the business side, and I think that's a balance which is missing from other finance. So I think that my tokens will be, this will also be done. Okay, let's see. It's an experiment game, you know, it's an open game. Let's see what happens. We don't do anything. I'm just playing the game, you know. Something which is exciting, something which is not. People are doing, I'm just playing a game. Okay, you got it? Thank you very much. So nice, thanks.